All right, so we're going to go ahead and get started on tonight's homework, Tuesday nights. Um, Most of these we have gone over before, but I'm going to run through these with you just as a reminder. Um, I am not going to do numbers 1 and 2 with you just because I y'all can put those in your calculator, and I don't need to work those with you. You can just put those straight in your calculator. So we're going to start with the third one. It says the ratio of pencils to erasers is 4 to 1. If there are 20 pencils, how many erasers are there? Well, my keyword here is ratio, and I'm trying to solve a problem with ratios. So anytime I see ratios and I'm trying to solve a problem, I'm going to create a ratio box. And the two things I'm comparing here are pencils and erasers. So my labels are going to be pencils and erasers, pencils and erasers. My first row, or I'm sorry, my first column is for my initial ratio, which is 4 to 1. The 4 represents the pencils because pencils come first and the 4 comes first. So I'm going to put that there. And the 1 represents erasers, so I'm going to put that there. Sorry about that. Um, and then the question part, which goes in the second column, it says if there are 20 pencils, so 20 pencils are going to go in the pencil box. And I'm just going to solve for the eraser box. So I do that by cross multiplying 20 times 1 and then dividing it by the box across from it. So dividing it by 4. So 20 times 1 is 20 divided by 4 equals 5. So if I have 20 pencils, then I will have 5 erasers. All right, here we have what is 38% of 250. Well, if you remember correctly, of is a keyword for multiplication. So really, I can put this straight into my calculator, 38% times 250. So if I have one of these calculators right here, I can type in 38, so you can see it without the glare. And then to get the percent, I want that percent sign. So it's in green, so I have to press my green percent of, which means multiply, 250. And my answer is 95. Now, if I didn't have one of those calculators, I could still solve this by using a percent box. Remember, it's set up a lot like the ratio box, but on this side we have percent. Percent is of, and that what always goes in this box right here is 100. And then I can fill in my missing information. I have 38%, and so it has to go in the percent box. And then I have of 250, of 250. So that of is going to go in the of box, so 250. And then you solve it the same way as you would solve a ratio box by cross multiplying 250 times 38 and then dividing it by 100. And that'll give you the same exact thing of 95. The next problem here, it says evaluate the expression. All we have to do is punch this straight into our calculator, but we can also follow order of operations to solve this. According to order of operations, we have please, excuse, my dear Aunt Sally. So we start in the parentheses. So I'm going to look right here, and I'm going to do 36 divided by 12, which is 3. And bring everything else down, including my brackets. Alright, so I'm done with necessarily working inside the parentheses, but I still have brackets which are like parentheses, so I have to still work with those. I don't have any exponents inside the parentheses, so I move to multiplication or division. And I do have multiplication because when a number is next to a parentheses, that means multiplication. So I'm going to multiply that together, and that's going to give me 12. So I've got 12 plus 1/4 inside some brackets times 2 to the third power. So I would need to add 1/4 plus 12. So I'm going to come over here. 1/4 plus 12 is going to give me 49/4, which if I convert that is 12 and 1/4. So I've got 2 cubed times 49/4. And now I can do my exponent of 2 cubed, which is 8. So now I'll have 8 times 49/4. And when I times that, I get the grand total of 98. So like I said, if you have one of these calculators, you can punch them in, punch it straight in. It can go in a order of operations for you. If you do not have one of these calculators, you're going to have to actually do the order of operations yourself. Now the next problem is something that we haven't done in class yet that we're going to actually start doing next week. It says write an equivalent expression for 8 plus 7y plus 2x plus 4y plus 4. And we do this by combining like terms. So terms that are the same. Remember, terms are our chunks or our pieces. So we're going to put things together that are the same. And so I have a saying that if they have the same letter, they can go together. So right here, I have 7y and I have 4y. Those two can be combined together because they are the same letter. It cannot include x because x represents a different number and those will not go together. So I can combine 7y plus 4y to give me 11y plus 2x. There's no other x's, so you have to leave it 2x. And then I can combine my constants together. So, because those are just like regular numbers. So I can do 8 plus 4, which gives me 12. So this is the simpler way of writing this expression up here. Like I said, we're going to start talking about this more next week, and that'll make more sense. The next question says, to pass this year's math class, Miriam needs to earn at least an 82%. Write an inequality that shows that the scores of Miriam could get to pass her math class. So inequality means writing with like a greater than, less than, greater than or equal to, or less than or equal to sign. And so we know she's got to make at least an 82%. But we need to know her score, okay? We're going to let X represent her score in math class. Needs to either be greater than, less than, greater than and equal to, or less than and equal to 82. So we have to stop and think about, she needs at least an 82. So at 82, if she makes an 82, does she still pass? The answer is yes. So it's going to be one of these two right here because it's got the equal to bar. So it can be equal to 82 and it still work. So now we got to think, can it be greater than 82 and she still pass, or less than 82 and she can still pass? So at least means that number or higher. So she can make greater than or equal to an 82 and it still pass. So if she makes an 83, she passes. But if she makes an 81, which is less than an 82, she does not pass. Okay, so that's how we figure those out. Our next question says, find the rule, solve for n. So I've got x to 3, 6 to 5, 7 to 6, 10 to what? If you'll notice here, really all we're doing is we're subtracting 1. Our rule here is we're taking x and we're subtracting 1 from it to get y. So if I take 10, which is in x, and I subtract 1 from it, I'm going to get 9. Sorry, that looks like a 9. So n has to equal 9, while our rule is x minus 1 equals y. So really we're just subtracting 1. Lastly, we have another area problem. It says find the area of the shaded region down here. So we just want to know the area of this part. Well, to do that, we have a couple different options. If you'll notice, this is a rectangle, and half of the area is shaded in of the rectangle. So what we're going to do is we're going to take the area of the rectangle, and then we're going to find half of it. So to find the area of a rectangle, you have area equals length times width. So our area here, but what we need, we don't need the total amount of that. We need half of the area. So we need half the length times the width. And so if I plug that in, half of the length, which is 10, times the width, which is 8, when I multiply that together, I get 40 inches squared. And what you'll actually find out is this is the area, this formula right here is the area of a triangle. So because if you look, the shaded region makes a triangle because a triangle is half of a rectangle. So really you just needed the formula for a triangle. And so our answer ends up being 40 inches squared. So there's your homework for tonight. Please make sure that you've gone over those. Please make sure that you do these two on your own. Make sure you've shown your work. I've got a bunch of work written out, which means you should also have a bunch of work written out. You shouldn't just have the answers copied down. Okay. Also, make sure that if you haven't already, you need to make sure you've done your IXLs, Y4 through 5 and 8. That's what we worked on today. So if you haven't finished those, you need to finish those as well. I will see you tomorrow.